Hey guys, this is StrifeCro, and I'm here to do my Whispers of the Old Gods card review. When I kind of missed the time to do it as the cards came out, so it's going to be a little bit late. I've been sick the last 2 weeks and didn't really have my voice to do them. Right now there's 45 of 134 cards revealed, so I'm going to do it by class order instead of just doing it by reveal order, since I already kind of missed out on the opportunity to do that. So I guess I'm going to start with Druid first. Here we have Mark of Yasharj. Give a minion +2/+2 if it's a beast, draw a card. I guess looking at this card, probably going to compare it mostly to Powered Shield from Priest. There was a period of time where Powered Shield, I don't exactly remember what it was, but all I know is it used to not draw a card and be a little bit more powerful, maybe even. Okay, actually I remember now. It used to give your minion 3 health instead of 2, but it didn't draw a card, and that was a lot worse. Obviously, it's a lot worse. This card is very, very powerful if you can run beasts, because I'm assuming that they're going to kind of nerf card draw in some ways when the expansion comes out and when standard comes out, so there's actually going to be much less ways to cycle through your deck, and all these kind of cards that just cycle 2 mana for +2/+2 it's very powerful. So I guess it mostly depends. I think this will be pretty much a staple in Beast Druid, if Beast Druid is a thing, and if Beast Druid's not a thing, not really going to be used. So what makes it good is the fact that it can cycle. Calaxy Amber Weaver, 4 mana for a 4/5. Battlecry for Cthulhu has at least 10 attack, gain +5 health. This one, after Shredder rotates, 4-drops, like strong 4-drops, are going to be in high demand in a lot of decks, because right now almost every deck is just either running like no 4-drop minions or just running Shredder, other than, say, some class-specific minions in certain decks. I'm going to say that Cthulhu does look very powerful, and we will be reviewing Cthulhu in the future. But this one, I guess the way I feel about this is I'm kind of comparing to cards like the Soul Sisters, the 3 mana for the 3/4 kind of Spider Tank-like minions that gain effects when you cast spells on them. It's like, I feel like the Battlecry is not really the main part of this card. It's more the fact that it's a full strength Yeti in a way. So actually, I guess I'm not really valuing this too high, because normally, like, if your Cthulhu has at least 10 attack, it's going to be in the late game, and normally in the late game, a more influential effect would be to maybe even gain 5 health on yourself, or maybe deal some damage. You know, something like just summoning a 4/10. I mean, obviously it won't be a 4-drop where you get a 4/10, and something like a 4/10 is best on curve. So when we get into like really late game situations, in a Cthulhu deck as well, I don't think this Battlecry will be that great, but it's definitely a full powered card regardless, so I think it's okay. I'm gonna go into Hunter now. Only 2 Druid cards revealed so far. Infest, 3 mana, give your minions Death Rattle, add a random beast to your hand. I think this is maybe what Ball of Spiders should have been, or could have been. Seems a lot better than Ball of Spiders. It basically turns every card into every minion that you have on the field into a web spinner, at least a Death Rattle. And the thing is, Hunter, I guess at this point, Hunter's probably never going to be able to have a true control style, just because the hero power is what it is. And you know, the slowest Hunter lists are probably going to be something like double high main, kind of like Boom is out, but something like kind of like a slow mid-range Hunter. And this is actually low enough mana where you can actually feel good about using this for like extra fuel, extra steam, but I guess before, so you don't run out of cards. I think it's pretty similar to something like Cult Master even. Right now, some people are using Cult Master in mid-range Hunter in order to not run out of steam. I'd say Infest is pretty similar. If you can get 3 minions, it's as strong as a I mean, you don't get the 1/1s, but it's kind of as strong as ball spiders, and I feel like it's much easier to go for like a tempo style and get a decent infest, and especially with Unleashed Hound still in the game. So I think this will kind of create some strong mid-range hunters, but nothing like control. I guess I'm probably just going to give up that archetype as a viable one. 8 mana, 8/8, Giant Sandworm. 8 mana, 8/8. Whenever this minion kills another minion, it may attack again. So this is like a slow, I guess it's like a non-charge, non-battle cry minion, and constructed even assuming that, say, Big Game Hunter is out of the game or just changed significantly, where we can't really predict it. It's just something like this. It doesn't offer any immediate effect, and there's too many things that would still kill a Giant Sandworm. You know, classes have removal regardless of BGH being in the game or not most of the time, and I don't see. I think it's a little bit too slow. Probably not too great and constructed. Not really constructed playable. Probably. Definitely a decent arena card. Going into Mage, we have Forbidden Flame, 0 mana. Spend all your mana, deal that much damage to minion. Most of the Forbidden cards, I mean, they're kind of cool, but for the most part, I don't think that in general they're that good. They trade a lot of flexibility for power. No. They trade a lot of power for flexibility, but this is one I don't like that much, because deal that much damage to minion, for the most part, you can just use something like a Fireball and you can kill almost any kind of minion. If you want to deal more than 6 damage, say 7 or 8, yeah, Fireball you can even deal 7 if you wanted to, right? You also have the hero power, so in order for you to want to Forbidden Flame something less than a Fireball, you have to go to 8 plus mana, and in order for you to, you can also use that, say, less than Fireball, 1, 2, or 3, or 0, I guess, but those things, there's also Frostbolt. You're not really competing with you're definitely competing with these cards in Constructed, and even in Tempo Mage, I just don't think that this is versatile enough. You're kind of trading off some of it for flexibility, but you can't, like the power for flexibility, but you can't target face of Forbidden Flame either, so it's like only minion removal. I don't think that this is that good with Flamewrecker. Let's say it's not too great. Kabbalist's Tomb, 5 mana, add 3 random mage spells to your hand. So this is kind of cool, and I kind of want to talk about the direction that Blizzard's taking Control Mage. I don't know how much those archetypes can be supported anymore. It's always been one of my favorite decks with, you know, Duplicate, Echo, these kind of grindy decks. But it does seem like, if this is any indication, that this deck, the Control Mage, will actually take more of a spell direction. Right now, a lot of the power of Control Mage with these duplicates are based on these like ever recurring minions, especially with like Duplicate, Throw Conjure. I can see Cabbal's Tomb being like a try to shift the direction of a Control Mage of being into more spells. Definitely still need win conditions, and it's not going to be really a freeze mage kind of card either. So for the most part, we have to see if Mage can get some more reliable ways to take initiative. I mean, there's still Reno to heal a lot from, and this could be, say, something you can add to Reno Mage easily, because Reno Mage it's kind of hard to use 30 individual cards. So other than that, though, I'd like to see some kind of like delayed Flame Strike effect to Mage for Control Mages. Something that could buy you initiative on board. Maybe something else other than Frost of a Doomsayer. We have Paladin now, Stand Against Darkness, 5 mana, summon 5 Silver Hand Recruits. So Paladin has a lot of swarmy minions. Some of them are going away with Minibot and Muster, but Paladin's always going to have that hero power. I'd say that this is a little bit too all-in on 1/1 tokens. We have like Dark Whispers for Druid, that's pretty much unused, and Druid has Savage Roar as well as Dark Whispers being able to +5/+5. There's going to be next card on top of Steward of Darkness, which has some synergy with Stand Against Darkness, but I still think that 5 mana for 5 1/1s is a little bit too vulnerable to AoE, and from my experience with Paladin, playing like, say, mid-range Paladin and even Secret Paladin, a lot of times they're trying to like you want to develop a wide board to do damage, but then you also want to hedge on AoE. Like almost every class is having AoE, and so by the time that if you have board control turn 5, you pretty much want to just rather drop a minion. This could be good to refill board on a completely empty board, but even then, it seems significantly weaker than Muster for battle, especially with Quartermaster going away. I don't see it being too great. Next we're going to talk about Steward of Darkness, 3 mana for 3/3. Whenever you summon a 1 health minion, give it a Divine Shield. So this will work with your hero power, it'll work with Stand Against Darkness. It should work with a lot of 1 health minions if we're going to play it. 3 mana for 3/3 is kind of full powered, not really too weak. I guess 3 mana 3/4 nowadays, full powered with Spider Tank, but this is actually a pretty, I guess it's a pretty decent card. You can use this, it's a high threat card, and you can use it with your hero power to give it Divine Shield. I say that this is very close. It's strictly, I guess I don't like to use the word strictly if it's not true, but it does seem like it's a better version of, I wish I had memorized the name before, but it's the 3 mana 3/3 inspired summon a recruit. Silverhand something, maybe Silverhand Captain or something. I think Divine Shield is probably better than a second recruit for Paladin, and it also works not on a hero power. You can use Stand Against Darkness and things like that with it. So this is actually a pretty decent card. For the most part, though, pretty decent cards isn't really that great, so it might be just a decent filler card. Forbidden Healing, 0 mana, spend all your mana. It's not 0 mana, spend all your mana, restore twice that much health. So this is actually a forbidden card. The only one that I've seen that I really like, because I feel like healing makes a lot of sense to spend all your mana for. The way healing works is you never really want to heal until you really need to heal. So it's something that like the forbidden concept works very well for. You can use it as an emergency on lower mana against fast decks, but you always have incentive to go greedier and greedier with forbidden healing, and 10 mana for 20 health is pretty good. It's no Reno Jackson, but I mean, we can't all be running Reno Jackson decks, and the thing about healing is, even though this isn't really attached to body like Reno is, or like Healbot was before it's out of the game, healing isn't really something that has to be attached to body. It's like, you can win against a lot of decks by just healing enough, and you just simply don't die against some of the, like, once they commit, like say they start fireballing in the face or kill commanding in the face, at that point, you don't really need to attach the healing to the body. They're already giving up tempo to spend, they're burning your face at that point. So I actually think it's costed very well. Spend twice the amount of mana, health as mana, so I actually think that this is one of the better cards for Paladin control decks, and even some things like mid-range Pally, where we have kind of a mid-range deck masquerading as kind of a control deck. Alright, I'm gonna go to Vilefin Inquisitor, 1 mana for 1/3 Murloc. It's not a legendary, and it's epic. Battlecry, your hero power becomes summon a 1/1 Murloc. So this is actually my favorite card so far. I would say that there's no way this is the most powerful card so far, but I was scared of the Quartermaster going away. It's one of the most iconic Paladin cards. Didn't really get the best feedback probably when it came out, just because it came out with Muster and Minibot, and then after that Mysterious Challenger. So Paladin has always had somewhat of a bad reputation recently, but this kind of Paladin, the real kind of mid-range Paladin, is actually a really cool deck, and this kind of maybe preserves that style, especially with it not being a legendary. Instead of summoning, and the style I'm talking about is something like a hero power heavy mid-range Paladin, kind of a hybrid of a mid-range and control Pally, maybe with double equality Consecrate, True Sword Champions, things like that. And this is pretty cool. Since you can have 2 of them, it's pretty consistent that you can actually play this style, and you can combo it with Murloc War Leader, you can combo it with Murloc Knight. So it's like very much based on some kind of like Inspire or just hero power Paladin. and maintaining a fine line between not overcommitting on board and not being too weak on board, I guess. So this is a really cool card. It's also 1 mana 1/3 Murloc, which is full powered. You can run 3 1 mana 1/3 Murlocs with Tiny Fin, and you can even have a coin Murloc War Leader, or so you can actually have some nice tempo plays with this kind of deck as well. Really cool card. I love it. Hopefully it makes a splash in a constructed. First legendary we're reviewing. Ragnaros Lightlord, 8 mana 8/8. At the end of your turn, restore 8 health to a damage friendly character. So we can kind of assume that this is basically maybe like an 8/8 attached to Land Hands. It doesn't really draw, but it's an 8/8 body. The important thing here is that it restores 8 health. Pretty much it's going to go to you and probably not a minion at the end of every turn. So what this means is against decks that need to worry about your life total, things like aggro decks, even things like, say, Combo Druid, I don't know how much of that deck will be preserved, but things that they really are trying to get you down on life with, winning that kind of style. They have to, when you play it, you gain an immediate impact on your health. Restoring 8 health is probably gonna, it's gonna give you a decent shot at surviving the next turn, and if this doesn't die, most of these decks aren't running hard removal. It also generates 8 health every turn, so it's a very much must kill minion. And I guess I want to explain a little bit of the common, but it's almost always going to heal you. It only heals damaged characters, so it's hard for you to have damaged characters. If you have damaged minions, you can probably trade them away. Damaged minions is not even that common to have. Most of the time it's a kill or no kill. People don't generally damage your minions that much, so this is pretty cool. I like it a lot. I think the class legendaries so far have all been very powerful, especially if BGH is gone. It also can attack, so we don't really want to purely compare it to Ragnaros, which can attack. It still does, so it's like mathematically it's even better than Ragnaros, because Ragnaros just does 8 damage a turn. This gives you a 16 points of health swing every turn after the first turn, and 8 health on your first turn, just like Rag. So it's like, that's what I mean, like not comparing to Rag, because Rag can only deal 8 damage a turn, whereas this can deal 8 and restore 8, so it's a pretty cool card. It's pretty powerful, I think.